Hey Dunchbags, what's going on? It's Landon Remixes here, and welcome to my review of the 5th studio album from Owl City. This one's called Mobile Orchestra, and I gotta admit, I was pretty excited for this record to come out. I've been a big Owl City fan ever since Ocean Eyes dropped back in 2009, and a pretty almost equivalent album, All Things Bright and Beautiful, that released in 2011. Both were pretty spectacular and featured some very inspiring lyrics, cool little synth-pop synthesizers, and just showed off Adam Young's ability as a producer, vocalist, and instrumentalist on these couple albums. And he took a little bit more of a mainstream route with the following album in 2013 called The Midsummer Station, and I think with this newest record he's gone even deeper into that route to almost probably the point of no return. And the reason why I was so hyped about this record is because I think in some blog posts he had said that this new record was going to feature some elements that people liked about his first couple records. And while we do see a little bit of that, I think most of this album is basically just a cash grab. He wants to follow up the success of Good Time on his last record with Carly Rae Jepsen, but goes even deeper into the mainstream, featuring artists like Aloe Blacc on Verge, the 90s band Hanson in Unbelievable, and country star Jake Owen on the track Back Home. He also features a couple previous singles that had already released last year, You're Not Alone with Britt Nicole, which I'm not necessarily against, and This Isn't the End from his Ultraviolet EP, which I actually liked quite a bit. And like I said, as he reaches toward a more mainstream audience, I'm just gonna straight out and say it, I like about half of this record. The other half is pretty mainstream oriented and doesn't feature very inspiring lyrics, and he's kind of stepping away, progressing backwards, I think, from the sound that he used to be at, as I'm such a big fan of him and his older music. And even on some of these tracks that I wanted to like, sounds seem to be recycled, like on the track Can't Live Without You almost has the same exact lead melody as Wolfbite did on his Ultraviolet EP. And I have respect for Adam Young, as he is a Christian, and I think he takes a little bit more of an approach to this side on this album, with tracks like My Everything and You're Not Alone. And while I do want to love both these tracks, I do really like My Everything. Not as crazy about You're Not Alone with Britt Nicole. I was a fan of Britt Nicole a while ago before she took that mainstream route and became kind of a pop star. No matter what, I do have respect for him as a Christian, but I feel like his attitude on this record was more just kind of push it out there and show people that he's a Christian, rather than the kind of subliminal inspiring messages he used to have on tracks like Meteor Shower and tracks like Galaxies. But honestly, I think this album is just a cash grab, I feel like, and tracks like Unbelievable, which just make a lot of reference to being a 90s kid, and tracks like The Verge just makes it seem like it's targeting toward an audience of people basically my age, the graduates of the world, and making a country pop kind of collaboration where the vocals and instrumentals on this don't really work too well together, and two people with two totally different backgrounds came together and it just didn't really sound good in the end. Adam Young does not sound good as a country singer. Maybe it would have sounded a little better if it had been just him, but I think the fact that you take someone from the South and you take someone from Minnesota and you combine them, it just doesn't sound right. I do find a lot of inspiration in some of these tracks, like Thunderstruck. That was a favorite from the album. A lot of electronic elements that I liked seeing put to use, and kind of sounded like something that he could have found on his old records but translated into this new format. And tracks like Bird with a Broken Wing, which are very emotional and almost saddening to know that he stepped away from this sound. Tracks like This Isn't the End have very inspiring lyrics and hit very hard, but like I said, if the album would have been centered around stuff like this, I think he could have pulled around a lot of his older fans. And if you're an older fan of Owl City like me, you're probably not going to like this record, because a lot of it is just like Unbelievable, just very silly, and the lyrics are very lackluster, and I feel like he could have done a lot better of an album if he would have centered it around something like this, rather than half of the album just being cash grab singles. And you can tell, because those are the singles that Universal is putting out on the radio, the lead singles from the album. Verge and Unbelievable, and Back Home's probably going to get featured on country radio. I feel like it was just to get a lot of attention, because none of these tracks are really probably going to get the success that Good Time got back in 2013. Anyway, like I said at the beginning of this video, this album's about half good, half bad, and I can't really appreciate it for its full extent. I feel like Adam Young is just stepping backwards, so I'm going to give this one a solid 5. Most of the people I've watched have given it a solid 4 or less, but I really don't think it deserves that low, because there are a few solid tracks on this record. Even though it's only 10 tracks, it probably could have been longer, and he could have written something much more emotional and something to tie back into his old sound, which I feel like would have been much more beneficial. And I really hope he steps backwards from this sound and trying to be a pop star rather than his roots. And I feel like that was something he could have progressed with, and I think he did very well with the album All Things Bright and Beautiful, but kind of progressed backwards after that. So anyway, what do you guys think of this review? Make sure to listen to the album, tell me what you think. You might actually like it, who knows. But anyway, I'm Landon Remixes. See you guys later. Peace.